Hey guys, welcome back to another scripting tutorial, and in today's tutorial I will show you guys how to add gun recoil. So here I have my M1911 and so as you can see there is gun recoil, and right now I want to make my sniper have gun recoil because it does not, as you can see. So let's get started. And pretty much, yeah, I have my two guns right here. I will just remove my M1911 because we do not need that. And inside of my gun, you guys should probably already have your gun already. You just need to add the recoil. And yeah, pretty much right here, I get my mouse position and I want to add gun recoil. So this is where we're going to add it, right where we would get the mouse on the local side, right? So anyways, we need a couple of things. We need first local run service, and run service is basically gonna make it so our camera can lerp, because we are going to use lerping very smoothly. So let's get run service, and the next thing we need is local camera equals workspace.currentCamera. And usually, if this was on starter player, we would want to wait for the camera because the script could run before the camera runs. But in this scenario, it's in starter pack, so we don't have to wait because there's like delay time and all that, so it's all good. So anyways, we got our camera. The next thing we want is to make a couple of number variables so it's easy to readjust our settings to the likings of your of what you like. So the first thing we'd want to do is recoil. So recoil time equals we'll do 0.1. So very fast recoil. Local recoil height, let's say maybe, let's say 2. Okay, actually no, let's do 1 for this one. And then next we want to do the shaking. So this is what's going to cause our camera to shake. We want to do local distance to shake equals, let's say 1, and then local speed to shake. So the speed, let's say the speed is like 20 for the shaking of the camera. And the next thing we want to get is the what do we need? And we also need the incrementation. So local increment time equals, let's say, what should it be? Let's say 0.25. So this is basically going to inflict our speed or the smoothness. So we can just say smoothen incrementing. And then this basically goes, well, based off of lerping, this goes from 0 to 1 to 1. So yeah, 0 to 1, I'll do 0.25. And let's actually get started with the actual recoil. So let's coroutine.wrap this. And basically I want to do this because I want to start a new string without yielding my return script, because this is going to call my mouse to get the mouse and return it, since I'm using a remote function, and I don't want to yield my script. I don't want to make it so if I add a wait, it will yield the returning of the mouse to the server side. I don't want that to happen, so I'll use a coroutine.wrap, which is just a better version of spawn. So let's add a little note here. Let's say better version of spawn. And yeah, it is considered the better version of spawn. There are a few reasons for this, but that is something I need to make a video on another time. But always use this over spawn. That's all I can say. And also, one thing I forgot, you also have to wrap it. And this basically calls our coroutine. So you have to add these 2 parentheses right there. Here, let me zoom in. So you have to add these 2 parentheses right here. And now let's actually make our gun cause the recoil. So we do run service.render step equals connect and we need to make our function. So our function for recoiling, let's call this function local function play recoil. Okay, so this is the function we're going to call, and we could just pass this into our render step play recoil, and this is what's going to start playing every time the run service.render step is connected. And in this we are going to make our recoiling, and what we do first is we first do local total speed equals speed shake times our tick, and tick is basically the amount of time in 1 second. So yeah, it can vary based off of your system, but it's a great way of like multiplying with different variables. So just to get a random number, it's a great way to get a random number. So yeah, using tick we get a random number, which is great for shaking our screen. And we want to do local do we need local? Yeah, we need local, my bad. So we need local bobble x, and this is going to be our x-axis, and we're going to do math.cos, and then we want to do total speed times distance shake. And so we're just multiplying our total speed, which is our tick, times our speed shake, which is 20, to our distance, which is just 1. So the 1, yeah, you can change this to 2 so it actually does something. Because if you don't know, anything multiplied to 1 won't do anything. But I just want to keep it 1, so I want to keep it basically doing nothing for my scenario. And also local bobble y equals math.absolute, and then math.sign, and then over here we do total speed. And over here, actually, I think it's outside. We do times distance shake. So yeah, I definitely, if you guys thought I know what this actually does, I have no idea how this worked. But I just got this basically from the Roblox's like camera movement script, and I just took it apart and I just got this from it. So yeah, that's how I understood that, and I understand that this makes it so it's kind of like a bumpy type of shake. So it's not like a random camera movement, it's more of like a bumpy shake. So this is gonna make our bumpy shaking, and that makes it pretty smooth. That makes it a pretty smooth type of shaking. And now we want to actually call our camera, so we do camera.cframe equals camera.cframe, and then we do camera.cframe and then lerp. So this is what is going to increment each time the render step is called. And then we have to get camera.cframe again because we don't know our position at all. And then we multiply it by oops, that just went crazy. But we multiply it by cframe.new. And this is basically going to make our camera shake. And we do bobble x, and then bobble y, and then we do 0 because that's the z-axis, and camera does not have a z-axis because it's a 2D camera. And then the next thing we want to do is multiply it again, and this is going to make our camera jump. So we do cframe.angles, and this will make our camera shoot up after we shoot our bullet. And I think I took out a parentheses there. And inside of these parentheses we want to do math.rad, which basically converts it into degrees instead of radians. So that's a really important thing that I think you guys should know. Math.rad, it just converts it to degrees. So yeah. And what do we need to get? We get the recoil height. So the recoil height is just 1, which is not really very fast. I guess if you want a high recoil, would make this like 5. So that's gonna shoot up pretty high up with the sniper. So recoil height, and I'm pretty sure that is it. So this, yeah, this makes our camera shoot up. For some reason, the X value is the reason our camera shoots up. I don't understand why, because I thought X goes left and right. I thought this would be it, but for some reason, for cameras, that's not the way, so we have to change the X value in order to make our camera shoot up for some reason. And yeah, so yeah, this is gonna make our camera shake, and make camera recoil. Yeah, this is gonna make our camera recoil. We get the total speed. I guess we can add this into, well, under our note there, so it's not too confusing, right? Because this is all together. Alright, and now we want to call this off, or else this is gonna recoil forever. So how we do this is I used a disconnect. So we do local connection, and we don't have to set that to anything, just leave it local connection, and that just sets it to nil, but it's still erroring because we didn't set connection to anything. So we do connection equals run service.render stepped, and over here, right under it, we do wait and then recoil time. So our recoil time is 0.1, so that's going to run pretty quickly. Render step runs rapidly. And then after 0.1 seconds, we want to do connection equals disconnect. And so yeah, this basically does disconnect our connection. And then after that, we do wait again, just to make sure it's safe. Then we, let's make a second connection to be safe as well, 2 connection. So that's what I call my second connection, 2 connection. Then we do 2 connection equals run service dot render stepped equals connect. And what I'm doing right now is this is gonna be our recovery method. So right over here, this is our recover recoil. And recover recoil basically makes it so after our camera shoots up, it slowly starts to fall back down, so it goes back to its original position. So our camera shoots up and then it goes back down. And let's make a new function for this, local function recover recoil. I guess that's a pretty solid name. And this is basically just going to return our camera back to its normal position. And how we do this is we do camera.cframe equals camera.cframe lerp, just like the top one, and then we do camera.cframe times cframe.angles, okay? And we don't need to make the shaking back to normal because the shaking is just shaking the camera. And it's not really doing anything. And so we get the angles because our angle is still pointing up and we have to point it back down. And let's just copy this and paste it in here. So math.red, and then we just make this negative. So yeah, so it goes back down. So yeah, we just make math.rad negative recoil height. So this is going to make our camera go back down from the cframe.angles, because that's like the orientation that makes our camera look up a bit when we fire our gun. This is like what makes our camera shoot up. So yeah, we just make it negative so it goes back down to its original position. We lerp it so it's nice and smooth. Oh, and I almost forgot, this would have not worked. I forgot to add the incrementation time. So we add a comma after all of this and we do increment time. I almost forgot about this. This would have not worked. And then over here we also do increment time as well. So yeah, since lerping does require another parameter, we have to add a new parenthesis, a new comma, then do increment time, which is like the incrementation or smoothness, basically the smoothness of how fast this will go and all that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think we also have to add it into the function recover recoil, and we have to disconnect it as well. So we do wait recoil time, and then we do 2 connection disconnect. And yeah, that is pretty much it. This is gonna make our camera recoil. So I guess we can add notes camera recoil, and then this right at the bottom, this second connection is gonna make our camera go back to normal after the first one disconnects. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. And let's run it. Well, actually, before I run it, I'll just say, if you guys did not think the recoil was strong enough, just mess around with the values, and that will pretty much make it so it fits what you like with your recoiling, just to change these values right here. And yeah, especially the recoil height. If you want, if you have a machine gun, and the shaking as well, the speed shake and the distance shake, just change the values and you can get the recoil that you really adore. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Return my Mouse.Hit, and let's run the game so I can show you guys that it does work. Let's play. So we have our M14. I hope it's not laggy for you guys. So I'm holding my gun, and it recoils. It recoils perfectly, shoots up, goes back down. And yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Yeah, it was really cool making this video. I've never seen any other person make a recoiling video, and yeah, I wanted to be the first. So I hoped that this was really helpful for you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.